UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Erceg takes place this weekend, and I'm going to be predicting the full card, starting off with the prelims, finishing with the main event. It is a Mexican-based fight night, meaning we're not getting many fights over 155. There's only two on the card, and they're both at 185. So they're all going to be scrappier fights. Not really many flatline KOs. There might be one or two here and there, but it's not going to be like a UFC Seattle card where there's flatline KO, flatline KO, flatline KO. It's going to be more scrappy fights with a few submissions and a few TKOs and KOs here and there. That's my prediction for the card anyway. I could be completely wrong. Starting off with the prelims, these are all the fighters on the prelims. We're just going to be predicting who's going to win each fight. Starting off with the prelim opener of Marquez with a Q in the middle of his name. Murdos versus Austin Hubbard. Now, Murkos is a very powerful striker. If he catches you with a good combination, he can put you out cold. Hubbard is he's very experienced, where he's a crafty vet. He's got experience against tough opponents, tough competition, but I feel like Marquez is going to catch him with a good combination. If not in the first round, probably in the second round. That's what I'm predicting. A second round KO with a good combination, putting Hubbard down, and he just bang, bang, hammer fists, puts him out cold. That's my prediction for this fight. Moving on, we have Jamal Emmers versus Gabriel Miranda. Now, Jamal Emmers is 40% of his wins are by KO. Is it 40% or is it 60%? I think it's 60% of his wins are by KO. He has solid boxing. I mean, very versatile on the feet. Miranda, good grappling. I mean, first things first, look at Miranda, right? Tell me, I noticed this before, tell me he doesn't look like a German soldier from 1942. Just look at him and tell me that, with the arm tattoo. All I'm saying. Anyway, he has good grappling and he could stall out the fight, but I think Emmers just has that dog in him, and I think he's going to get the fight finished while on the feet. Am I going for KO? Yes, round 2 KO for Jamal Emmers. Now, moving on, we have Rafa Garcias versus Cub Swanson 2.0. Tell me he doesn't look like Cub Swanson. You know what I mean? With the mustache and the bald head and the cauliflower ear, you know. He's also got that unk status as well, 42 years of age. Now, obviously, age barely matters anymore because we've just seen Jan Blachowicz give Ulberg a good fight. Cub Swanson knocked out Billy Q. I guess it doesn't really matter anymore. But Garcia does have good pressure. And if he can pressure a guy like, how do I even say his name? Pinnacle? Pinnacle? I'm going to call him Pinnacle. Coming off a long layoff, 42 years of age. I mean, if he's constantly pushing forwards and he's constantly applying pressure to Pinnacle, I think he's going to get it done. I'm going to say by decision. I don't really see much finishing potential here. What's the fight at? What weight? 155. Could be fight of the night. Not going to lie. I mean, it could be fight of the night just with the power and whatever. But I think Garcia is going to be too much for Pinnacle for it to really be too much of a close fight. I'm saying quite a dominant decision for Garcia. Speaking of dominant decisions, Lupi Godinez versus Julia Polistri. I'm going to go Polistri. I think she get it done by dominant decision. Now, without the power to, because she is a wrestling base, decent striking as well, pretty well rounded. I mean, I think she's going to get it done with control and a bit of striking. Without the ability to cinch up a nasty submission, you kind of end up going into the same bracket as Bilal Muhammad, where you're wrestling, you've got good control, you don't really have much power to do good ground and pound, and you don't really have the submission threat of someone like Charles Oliveira. So it kind of turns out to be a little bit of a boring fight, and I think this one's going to be quite boring. It's going to be a dominant wrestling display by Lupi, but I feel like it's going to be more of a shit break type fight because of the lack of power and the wrestling base and the lack of submission threat. So I'm going to go with a decision for Lupi. I think she's going to get it done. Yeah. Moving on. Christian Rodriguez versus Maquezel versus Costa, right? Costa submitted Feely because he's a moron and he stuck his head into a guillotine. That was the last fight. I watched Christian Rodriguez last fight, but I've completely forgot it. Like, it's just exited out my brain. But it's a very close fight. Who am I picking to? I'm picking okay. Very, very close fight. 145. I mean, I was initially going to pick Costa to win by submission just because he has a nasty submission game. And also because the other guy, Rodriguez, gets his head stuck into guillotines quite a lot as well, which Costa just won by. Where's my notes for this fight? I had the notes, but they've just disappeared apparently, so I'm going to have to ball this one off the top of my head. I'm going to pick Rodriguez to win because I do think he is better all round, but there is still a chance of a submission happening for Costa. So this is an interesting fight in terms of the dangers here, which is completely the opposite of the last fight. So, moving on to a more dangerous, what's the correct, more dangerous matchup, a matchup that's very exciting. Jose Daniel Molina versus Artaber Guta. Now, UFC are now trying to push African MMA as much as possible. So they've decided to, after their last African prospect got slumped and submitted by a rear naked choke, they've now put two Africans against each other. So they're guaranteed a promising African fighter after this one. I'm going with Artaber Guta. He is 6'4" with an 81-inch reach, and he's built full middleweight. That's the exact same statistics as Israel Adesanya, and he's more built than Israel Adesanya. So I'm saying a round 1 KO. Hopefully he's got that knockout power. I haven't really seen much of him. I didn't watch his Contender Series fights. I feel like he will definitely get this one done, though. So 185, was the highest weighted fight on the card. So I hope he does get it done for KO. If this goes to a decision, the card's doomed. You know what I mean? But I'm going with him to win. Round 1 KO. Moving on. Edgar Chairez versus CJ Vergara, who is skinny fat flyweight. What can you do? You know what I mean? Sorry, my doorbell went. I had to go answer the door. So that's really thrown my flow out. Where was I? Chairez, okay. Chairez has the build advantage here. He has better reach and he is taller. He also has the ground advantage as well. So basically, the way you beat a guy who's taller and longer than you, if you're the shorter fighter, is you have to apply some sort of pressure and keep it closer. So you have to keep it you have to apply pressure. Like watch Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. While they were on the feet, Brady's applying that pressure. Watch Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards. It just sounds like I'm ripping into Leon, but he just fought, so it makes sense. They keeping the pressure on him because he's the ranger fighter. They want to push him back. They want to keep the pressure on him. You can't do that unless you have the threat of the takedown. And Chairez is better on the ground than Viraga, so I feel like he's going to do better because if you don't have a threat of a takedown, you can't apply pressure the same way as someone who does. So it's difficult to do. Granted, Joshua Van did that against Chairez and it worked perfectly, but my logic's undeniable. We all know that. I'm picking Chairez to win by decision. I don't think he's going to get the finish. He might catch him slipping. You don't know. But at 125, you don't really see finishes all that often. I'm pretty sure it's got like a 27% knockout rate. So you never know. But I do know, and it's happening by decision. Moving on to the main card. Lots of fun fights on the main card. We're starting off with the main card opener of Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borras. I'm going to pick Ronaldo Rodriguez to get it done. Now, the odds are quite close in this one, but the Tapology is like 92% Ronaldo Rodriguez. So I have to do some deeper research into this one. Rodriguez he's got good ground game, okay? Rodriguez is, where's my notes for Rodriguez? Very good ground game, good control, but I mean, he's more of a submission threat than a controller. You know what I mean? He's playing, I was going to say playing more keyboard and mouse than controller, but that's an awful joke. We'll move. He has durability, he has cardio, he can scrap it out. Borras, good kickboxing, good Muay Thai, good within the clinch. I'm going to pick Rodriguez to get this one done via decision. I'm leaning towards submission now, I think about it. But I think he will be able to dispatch of Borras well enough and become the Mexican superstar the UFC need him to be. Moving on. David Martinez. Hopefully my mic isn't too close to my mouth because otherwise it's going to ruin the audio for this video. David Martinez versus Simon Oliveira. Now, where's my notes for this fight? This is really unprofessional from me. Right. I have no notes. Where's my notes gone? Martinez coming off the Contender Series. Is he coming off a Contender Series? Is he coming off Road to UFC? Contender Series, right. Much younger. I feel like we've seen this matchup happen between a younger guy and an older guy within like the same, like this guy's a striker, this guy's is he a grappler? I don't think he is, but he's 33 years old coming off a 2.5 year layoff. I don't like that for For a UFC fight, you can't take 2.5 years out of the cage and then come back and expect to be somewhat at the same level. I'm going to go with decision for David Martinez. I feel like he's going to piece him up every single round, win a solid 30-27 decision, and call out Raul Rosas Jr. on the mic. Why not? Anyway, speaking of Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. Now, Rosas Jr. is a big favorite going into this one. I'm also going to be picking him to win. I'm picking him to win by submission in round number 2. I do believe. Is it round 2? It's round 2. Raul does have a really nasty submission game. Do I have notes in this fight, or am I doing this off the top of my head again? I'm doing it off the top of my head. Lovely. Raul Rosas Jr.'s nasty submission game. Obviously, his last fight at the Sphere was a little bit boring, but I think he gets this one done, personally. Vince Morales, 2-fight losing streak, dispatched a month ago. Like, come on. Rosas, 6 months, taking his time. He is 20 years of age, which is insane when you think about it. I'm going to go over submission with Raul Rosas Jr. round 2. I think he gets it done. I'm going to say rear naked choke. I think he finds the back, gets it done, rear naked choke. Moving on, Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. But Gastelum's big, man, and he isn't like built big. He's big. You know what I mean? He's a little bit chunky, and that's not going to help him at all. I'm going Joe Pyfer round 1 KO. He's short for the division. How tall is he? Is he 5'9"? He is 5'9". We'll probably round down to 5'8". Pyfer's 6'2", brother. 4.5-inch reach advantage. I feel like he's going to knock him out. Just look at the build difference between them. I don't want to dig into Gastelum too much, man, but he's a good fighter. Had a great fight with Israel Adesanya, but he's a little bit washed. Come on, guys. What's his losing streak he's on as well? Is he on a losing streak? He's actually coming off of a win, which is, fair enough to the guy, but I think he's going to get smoked, in my opinion. Yeah, moving on. Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. This is a very close fight. 50-50 coin flip. Dober has very heavy hands, very heavy hitter. And stop saying the word very. Goes to war, and he has a solid chin, and a very chiseled chin as well, if you look at him. Now, some are saying he's not properly motivated in this fight. If you catch my drift, MMA memes at all, or mythical fighters, you catch my drift. Now, although Manuel Torres is not of that descent, I still think Drew Dober is going to get this one done. Now, I'm picking by decision. I think it's going to be a close decision or a Drew Dober round 2 or 3 KO. Now, I think he's going to run away with it within the last couple rounds. If he can survive the explosive start from Manuel Torres, I think Dober does get this done in the late rounds or sees out a decision. So I'm going to say a decision / round 3 KO. I usually just pick one, but we're gonna double down and do both. That's not what double down means, but we'll move. So as long as he doesn't get caught by Torres's unorthodox strong style, he should get this one done. Moving on to the main event. I've already done a breakdown of this fight on my channel. We're just going to quickly do a quick run over of the fight. Now, Erceg versus Moreno. Cheeky does spread of Corona there. Another terrible joke. That's why you stay here. That's why you stay in the channel. Moreno versus Erceg. Moreno has better striking. I think Moreno's criminally underrated at the moment. I know he lost to. He just smoked Albazi, by the way. But I know he lost to back-to-back Pantoja and who was the other guy? Royval. Both close fights, by the way. I think Moreno beats Erceg by decision. I feel like he pieces Erceg up in the feet. As long as he stays holy stutter. As long as he stays outside the clinch range of Erceg, I feel like he's going to get the better on the feet. Erceg's got very poor striking defense. On top of that, you're getting knocked out at featherweight. Not featherweight, flyweight. That's even worse. Getting knocked out at 125 should be a crime. Punishable by law. But I feel like Moreno's going to get this one done. I don't think he's going to knock him out or anything special. I feel like he's going to piece him up. 4 rounds to 1. That's my prediction. Official 4-1 decision for Brandon Moreno. Yeah, that's the card. Let me know what you think of my picks. A little bit stuttery today, but we'll move. Yeah, so let me know what your picks. Let me know what you think of my mic quality as well, because it's constantly been moving throughout this video. So if it's poor, let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.